and chains here are not meeting up to standards. Now, when we talk about the government, we talk about policy. We talk about policies because the government is the one formulating the policy. The government has the right to regulate the market chain of supply for building materials, supply for production, making sure that the enabling environment for production, making sure that a regulation in the production of both materials that are made for building, for construction, as the case may be. And you not look at Nigeria as a case study. Nigeria is highly dependent on importation of production, importation of virtually everything. And as long as the dollar is weakening, don't forget, the dollar will now regulate the market price. And we don't expect an average man, an average landlord that goes to buy material for building in a high level or in a high price, we now end up subsidizing the rent. So this check flows from the head down to the middle. Who are those suffering? The masses are those suffering. Because when the high level of when there's a high price in the market structure, it ends up affecting the consumers, the populace. Me and you are suffering.
Mr. Graham. Mr. Graham, sorry to cut you, but then, if you are attributing this hike in the price of houses to the high rate of building materials, the high price of building materials, then I'm going to ask you, how about the agents who give out these houses and then they impose an agent's fee of 20% on a house that is not even theirs? So let's assume you're renting a house for ₦1 million. You now have to pay an agent fee of 20% of that ₦1. And then when you say the price of building materials are expensive because they are being imported, what about the old houses? Because this hike in price of in rent, price of rent, it does not just apply to newly built houses. Even old houses the rent for old houses are being raised too. You see houses that have been built 10 years ago. These landlords are still coming to raise these rents. And then they add 200 to your existing rent. Are you trying to dispute the fact that this could be as a result of greed from agents, from these housing agents, as well as some of these landlords? For crying out loud, if you did not build a new house, why are you raising the price of the house? Even if you built a new house, do you want to recover the entire money you used in building the house in just 1 year rent? How? I thought this thing is supposed to be spread across the years you're going to, over time. Do you think it's justifiable to say that the price of building materials, importation, I don't see that? In a way, the agents, I've heard of cases where agents even encourage the landlords to increase the rent just so that their agent fees can also come up. I've heard. So what do you have to say about this? This is what a lot of persons are saying. Nigerians are crying. They are accusing the agents and they are accusing landlords of being greedy. Do you not see it that way?
Okay, there comes the issue of regulation, as I earlier said. The issue of regulation. The utilization of unregistered agents in the agency structure has become the order of the day. Actually, with the speculation, with the proper registered standard for agencies, with the proper registered standard as of the last review was 5%. Now, an application that came in among these same agents that lawyers are not taking play to the issue of agency. That after settlement of legal fee, you now end up settling the lawyers play on the 5% of the agency. Now, leaving them nothing or less. You know, that now made the issue of increment to 10%. The story continues and continues and continues. But I feel if the government put in place proper regulation, proper checkmate and proper regulation of these policies, then this issue of agent collection as far as 20% will become a history. Where a proper check is being placed, until a person is being punished for an act, correction will not take place. So I think both if the government plays an audible or a loud warning to these men in society, it will continue to exist, it will continue to take its course. So I think the government has a part to play here. The enforcement agency has a part to play here. What do I mean? If there's a regulation for 10% for agency, and you know that as a tenant, you're being extorted, if you report to the appropriate authority, and such a person is brought to book, the others, the state correction, the others will know that yes, it is no longer a future zone. So I think the government should liaise with the appropriate authority to checkmate the activities of these agents. Another is to checkmate the level of unregistered agents in the society. The level of unregistered agents parading in Port Harcourt today. Who are those that are supposed to take, or who are those that are supposed to be considered agents? They are registered estate firms. These registered estate firms, they are the original, by the eyes of the law, or by the provision of the law, considered to be agents to each property. But you discover that unregistered agents are now taking up that responsibility. Now, estate firms are taking 5%, agency want to take 10%. Sometimes they end up taking 10%. Before you know it, the masses are suffering it. So the government should step into this into action and regulate the issue of agency. Where only registered agents should take actively course in the issue of agency and tenancy. You discover that it will really curtail issue of hiking as the case may be, and 20% agents in the society.
Thank you so much, Mr. Graham. Like you rightly said, I think it is right for the government to spring into action. They should look into the hike in prices of house rents across Nigeria, in all the states. It's everywhere. But then it's quite alarming here in Port Harcourt as well as Lagos. I mean, eagle's eyes should be set on these agencies and even landlords who want to milk from the masses of the country. Yes. On to the next report. A laborer working with the Ogun State government has been shot dead during a demolition exercise at Orile Imo along the Sagamu-Abeokuta Expressway. The victim, Oluwaseyi Adeoye, was part of a team from the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, assigned to remove illegal structures when soldiers at the site reportedly resisted the operation. Witnesses say a confrontation broke out between the demolition team and the military personnel, leading to chaos. One of the soldiers allegedly opened fire, and Adeoye was struck by a bullet. He died on the spot, and his body was later deposited at the State General Hospital morgue in Ijaye, Abeokuta. Authorities have confirmed the incident, with police launching an investigation to determine what happened. The Commissioner for Physical Planning described the killing as unfortunate, expressed sympathy to the family, and assured that efforts are ongoing to identify the soldier involved and ensure appropriate action is taken. This is a very tragic one, I must say, Mr. Graham. How did it even get to this point where we are now recording a loss of life? And then I've been asking, are there no rules and regulations that guide the activities of these demolishers, that regulates demolition activities in the country? Why do we now have a loss of life? And do you think that these incidents could have been avoided? What's your take on the report?
It's quite unfortunate that this is happening. My sympathy to the bereaved, that now comes to play. We need to begin to answer ourselves. How did we get to this point? More especially, the law enforcement agency now taking laws into their hands. In the military setting, there is what we call the rules of engagement. The rules of engagement simply says before there is a confrontation or before there is an action of aggression to take place, there should be rules, that have been properly taken place. It's a segment. Don't forget, in the issue of demolition, it is not in the place of civilians to enforce demolition processes, the police. And with the situation of that, the police was actively involved. And the question is, now, was the rule of engagement actively put in place? The question is no. Because our military personnel, they understand the issue of rules of engagement, because during training, these are courses that they are properly engaged. These are they are trained in. These are courses that they make sure that they are reflected in before they come out to begin to execute orders and rules. But the question is here. The soldier in question and the police in question, was that proper engagement, no matter the aggression in question, should it have led the soldier releasing a figure to a civilian, an unarmed civilian? Questions to be raised, investigations to be raised, because whenever we hear the story that the military personnel releasing a figure to an unarmed civilian, it is a question of a national concern, because Section 30, Section 32, Section 31 of the Constitution that guides the human rights has been properly breached. As a matter of fact, nobody has the right to take life except where there's an express statement of the court. But any other thing aside from there, nobody has the right to take the life of person. It's quite unfortunate that this happened. Our military personnel in Nigeria as a whole should be properly will be recording the loss of life. But because it's then put in place the proper rules of engagement, now you see where it has led. A poor man that came out to hustle for his life is now in the mortuary, leaving the family in bereaved. So I think a proper investigation should be launched. It should not just be spilled into the carpet. It should not. A proper investigation should take place, and those that are protected, that are free of the law should be put to book.
Should be prepped as well. You don't need to get to the point where you are now risking your life. At the point where the security personnel, the